So now I'm going to go deep dive into the demo to show all the capabilities of the Unity Asset Manager and the Unity Asset Transformer when using that in VIROO Studio. So first, I have here a really cool CAD model that I really want to bring to my project and start making some interactions with it. So the only thing I need to do is just to download the files. I'm going to put the files on my computer, extract the files here, and as you can see here, I have the SolidWorks file. This format is not directly compatible with Unity, so I'm going to use the Asset Manager and the Asset Transformer in order to bring this to my project. So I'm going to go to the Asset Manager website, to a specific project that I have open and shared with my colleagues, and I'm just going to upload this file directly to the Asset Manager. So what this is going to do is make accessible this specific file to every coworker that I have inside my organization. So now that this file is available in the cloud, I can just go back to my Unity project where I have a VIROO Studio project open. This is just a regular Unity project with all the predefined components that VIROO includes in order to make content creation accessible to everyone. Here I will go to Window, Asset Manager, and it's going to sync with the cloud to see what files are available there. As you can see, I have this file available here, which is the file that I've just uploaded in the Asset Manager, and I can just directly import it into the project. I'm going to select a specific folder, in this case 3D models, select that folder, and it's going to automatically download this file and put it in my project. Now that the file is downloaded, I can just click on Show in Project, and here I have the CAD model that I want to work with. What I'm going to do now is use the Unity Asset Transformer to make this file compatible with Unity. I just select Import Model, select my file, and here in the inspector at the right, I can change some parameters, apply some rule engines, select different LODs, but for now, I'm just going to keep it that way. So I'm going to click on Import, and this is going to transform the SolidWorks file into an FBX, which is one of the most compatible formats that Unity supports. We'll just need to wait a little bit and then our file will be ready. So as you can see now, apart from the SolidWorks model, I have now an FBX file in a matter of seconds that is compatible with the engine. I can see a preview here of the model, and the only thing I need to do to bring this to my project is just drag and drop in the game object I want. I'm going to place it in the center of the scene and rotate it 90 degrees. Now that the 3D model is ready, without doing anything more, I could just export this application, upload it to the VIROO platform, and start viewing it in a one-to-one scale in XR in a multi-user, multi-device environment. So let's just do that. I'm going to go to Window, Dashboard, Account, and I can just log in with my credentials. So it's going to sync with the content that is uploaded in our particular cloud. Go to Application Builder and just fill all the data. I'm going to call it Unity Asset Manager Demo, put that in the application name as well, and select this particular scene in the project. Now I'm just going to click on Build and select a specific folder in my computer. Now we just need to wait a couple of minutes before it compiles and the project is ready. Now that the application is published, I'm going to upload this to the VIROO Cloud. For that, I just need to go to the VIROO Cloud website, log in with my credentials again, go to Apps, and I'm going to select in a specific folder to put this application. In this case, VIROO Development, version 3.0, and I'm going to place my application just right here. Depending on the file size, it's going to take a couple of minutes to upload it. And now that it has been uploaded to my cloud, I can just open VIROO Single Player, which is the desktop application that is going to allow me to create or join already existing sessions. So again, I'm going to log in with my credentials. It's going to sync with all the content uploaded to the clouds, in this case, giving me access to this specific app. So I can just go to create a new session, search for my demo, click on select, and download my file. I can just click on create and join that session and initiate. In this case, I'm going to select keyboard and mouse to show that even if you don't have a VR headset, you can just join multi-user sessions using your regular flat screen and your keyboard and mouse to move around and even be interactive if you want. It's connecting with the server. I can hide all the controls here. And as you can see here, I have my 3D model, which was in a SolidWorks format. I've just transformed that using the Asset Transformer, shared that with my colleagues with the Asset Manager, and now it's running here on VIROO. But of course, the good thing is to show this in a one-to-one scale. So I'm going to switch to the VR mode. I'm going to select VR headset. I have my headset right here connected to the PC. So I'm going to just press and play again. The content is now being displayed on the headset. So I can just put it on, grab my controllers to see them in the VR space. And now I have the sense that I'm actually here. In a one-to-one scale, I can have a look to my 3D model to make me make some decisions to make a design review process, and I can be sharing this content with colleagues all around the world. Some of them might be using a VR headset, some of them might be using just the keyboard and mouse, but in a matter of minutes, I have a multi-user, multi-device, multi-location session with VIROO. So this is how easy it is to create this kind of content. But the best thing, of course, is to make it interactable. So let me just show you how easy it is to do as well. I'm going to close the session here, close single player, and go back to my Unity project. So here we have our static 3D model, and I'm going to make some interactions. I'm not a programmer myself. I'm not going to use any line of code, and you will be able to see how easy it is to create this kind of interactions. I have a panel here called Assembly Parts Editor, where I can select an assembly group that is ready inside my project. And here in my hierarchy, I can search for this object called Sequence Manager. I'm going to open a new window for it, and I'm going to place it right at the bottom. So with the Assembly Parts Editor, I can create assembly parts, which will be basically parts that I can grab and put in a specific place. And with the Sequence Manager, I can create steps that must be completed in a specific order. So in order to create an assembly part, I just select the part I want, in this case this cover, and of course to be able to grab this particular part, I need to ensure that this part contains a mesh collider. And in order to make it grabbable, the only thing I need to do is go to my Assembly Parts Editor and click on Create. Now I can select a start to determine a starting position to this piece, and then I go back to Select Part, and I'm going to create an assembly target. This will be the place where the user needs to place this part in order to the step to be completed. So in this case, I'm going to create a target. I'm going to change its name. I'm going to name it Place Cover, and then I'm going to press and play to test this interaction. As you can see, in a matter of seconds, without having to code anything at all, I now have this part floating in the space where I specifically told it to be. I can approach it, I can grab it with my controller, and I can go to place it in the target that I defined before. Just releasing it is going to be placed right there. But now this interaction is not part of a sequence, so I'm just going to add it. I can go to my Sequence Manager, add a specific step, and clicking here is going to search in all the hierarchy of the project and detect the only specific game object that can be added to the Sequence Manager. In this case, the Place Cover step. By clicking on it, is going to be added, and now I'm going to create a second assembly part in order to put it in the sequence as well. So in this case, I'm going to select this specific part. I'm going to ensure that this is the part that I want to grab. I'm going to add a mesh collider as well, and then going to my Assembly Parts Editor. I'm going to click on Create, select the start, move it to starting position, select the part again, and create an assembly target. And I'm going to call it Place Part 2. Now I can go to my Sequence Manager and add this step as well. Now that I have two assembly parts, I'm going to enrich this training sequence by adding some prefabs that we have ready in the project. So if I go here to my project panel, I can go inside Prefabs, Completables, and I have audio instructions, clickable objects, triggers to detect user's position, tool completion steps, or even videos. So in this case, I'm going to go to my hierarchy, and I'm going to add an audio instruction here. As you can see, I have my audio instruction here, and I'm going to search for the guide welcome audio that I have prepared. Since I want this to be the first step in my sequence, I can just go to my Sequence Manager, add this step, which is the audio completion, and I can even change its name to call it Welcome Audio. And in order to change the order of the sequence, the only thing I need to do is just to drag and drop this step to be the first one in the sequence. Finally, I'm going to add a video prefab, and I'm going to place it just about here. This contains a really small sample video, but of course you can put whatever video you want. And I'm going to add it to my sequence, video completion, and I'm going to change the name to call it Ending Video. Finally, I'm going to add a trigger, so the training won't start until the user reaches this specific point. I'm going to call it Start Training, and then I'm going to add it to my sequence as well, and I'm going to put it in the first position. Now if I press play, again, in a matter of minutes, without me having to code anything at all, I have a small training sequence build that has triggers, audio completions, grabbable parts, and even a video at the end. So I can just go inside my trigger.
Welcome.
I receive the audio instruction.
Please put the parts in the correct place to complete the training.
And then when it's finished, I can go to my piece, grab it, place it in the correct position, go to the next step, grab my part, place it here, and then I receive my ending video. And the best thing about this is that everything is being recorded here. So I have every step that has been completed, the amount of time that it took me to complete this specific step, and which user inside the session did it. Now I'm going to export this content again and show you how it works in VR. I'm going to save my project, go to Window, Dashboard, Application Publisher, and build it again. I'm going to select the correct folder and then replace my content. We'll just wait a couple of minutes, upload it again to the cloud, and create a new session with it. Now that the new version of the application is published, I can just drag and drop it again in my VIROO server. Of course, it's going to detect that a project already exists with the same name, so it's letting me choose which one I want to keep. In this case, I'm going to select the new version. It's going to be uploaded again, and now I can be opening the VIROO single player, log in with my credentials again, and I'm going to create a new session as well, select my project, and update it. This is one of the great things about VIROO. It's going to automatically detect if there's been some changes. So whenever a user around the world wants to join this session, it's going to update the content so it ensures that everyone is looking at the same version of the application. Now that the content is ready, I'm going to click on Create and Join, pick up my headset again, click on Play, select VR headset, put it on, and now minutes later, I'm looking at the new version of the application. I can go inside the trigger.
Welcome.
I can receive the auto
Please put the
instruction.
parts in the correct place to complete the training.
And once it's finished, I can grab my part, put it in the specific place, jump to the next step, put it in place again, and then I'll be watching at the video at the end. And again, all the steps have been recorded here. Now that it's a live session, I'm getting the name of the device that the user is using in order to access this session. So I hope you agree with me that this is a really fantastic way in order to create content. With the Unity Asset Manager and the Unity Asset Transformer, I can easily share these kind of 3D models with my teammates, transform them if I need, and once they are inside Unity, I can use VIROO Studio to create this kind of multi-user, multi-device, multi-location experiences without even having to code in a matter of minutes. Thanks for watching.